with us, we've got Tyvon Davis. Tyvon, can you tell us how you made $9,600 on your very first deal?
Absolutely. So the first deal I did was actually right across the street from my mom and dad's house. So at that time, I was still learning what wholesaling was. I didn't really know how to do it, to be completely frank and honest, but it was just something I was researching. At that time, I think I was about 3 months into my research of what wholesaling was and deep diving into YouTube University and listening to all the different people. The first person that I started watching was Ty, the Flip Man. Don't know if you guys know who that is. Yep, Ty. And then kind of went down his rabbit hole and some other guys. And the neighbor across the street from my parents' house, he was an elder gentleman and he passed away. So at that time, I was like, well, this may be opportunity. I know he was a hoarder, and I wanted to wait a little bit to approach the family before I started asking questions about the property. So I think I waited about 2.5 weeks, was about, and then I went over there and door knocked actually, because I saw there was a girl there and another guy. I door knocked it, started talking to her, and she was like, well, we're not interested in selling, but we'll let you know if things change. So I was like, okay, no problem. I kept driving for dollars and doing my thing. And then she called me back actually like a month or two later. And she was like, are you still interested in the house? I was like, of course. So then I started giving her my spiel. I buy houses, all that jazz. And then she made an offer to me, which was nice because I didn't even have to give out an offer at all, which actually her offer was way lower than what I was going to offer. So then I thought that was cool. And then I told her I could do it. And that's how I came across my first deal.
Did you say you were living at your parents' house?
I wasn't living in my parents' house. That's the house I grew up in, though, was at my parents' house. And the guy who passed away was right across the street.
Oh, I got you. All right.
Yeah.
And so I know you kind of spent 3 months to research, and then you went and door knocked, right? Or you found out about that opportunity. So she ended up giving you an offer, which is great. It was so low compared to what you were going to offer. I bet you loved that.
Oh, absolutely. I was like, wow, this is okay. One check mark down. Let's see, keep going.
Yeah. So you were not intending to buy the house, right? But you got it under contract.
Yes.
And then how did you find a buyer for this house before it was time to close that contract?
So at that time, I only knew how to take the deal, post it on Craigslist and Facebook. And I posted it on Craigslist first. And before I could even get to posting it on Facebook, I went to the gym for like an hour and a half, came home, I was like, okay, I'll post it on Facebook. Before I could even do that, I had like 5 people blow me up. And I went ahead and let them start seeing it that very same night, actually. And Miguel is his name. He was the first person to seem as serious as he was. He walked the property, had money that he wanted to give, EMD. And long story short, Miguel was the first one to lock it up with me.
The EMD, earnest money deposit. So if you had it under contract, normally you don't have access to the house, but did you work out with the seller that you could have access to the house anytime?
Absolutely. So in my contract, I had a little clause saying that I would need to at least be able to put a lockbox on it. But in this case, she really didn't care. The back door is kind of like broken off the hinges. So she was like, you know, if you have investors or your partners that want to come through, the door's open anyways. You guys are more than welcome. So that made it super easy as well.
Oh, wow. So she knew that you were wholesaling the property.
Absolutely.
How did you pitch her on that?
So at that time, I know my pitch probably wasn't the best, but I basically just told her, like, I work with a bunch of different investors, and I find sellers, I align them with buyers, and I make a little performance fee commission.
Okay.
And that's kind of how I went about it.
Yeah. Great. So how did you decide? You mean you made $9,600, so I'm guessing you listed it on Craigslist for like $10,000 over what you had it under contract for, right?
Yes.
Did you just pick that because it felt good, or was there a reason why you picked that amount?
So I did have a couple of realtor buddies who kind of ran some comps for me, and they kind of helped me with that and told me the ballpark that I needed to be in. They told me what the ARV was going to be. So that's kind of how I found out the number I needed. Then I just kind of worked down and was like, well, if I want to make X amount, I need to come in at this price.
Yeah. Do you remember what the ARV was?
Oh, let me see. So I would say
After repair
that
value,
area.
by the way.
Yep. I would say the houses over there were probably about 70 grand. So not big, not a huge ARV, but 70,000 ish, maybe 80 grand. And yeah.
Did you come up with a repair, like an estimate of what it would need to get it to its full, and how did you do that?
So at that time, I was looking at Jerry Norton, some of his videos, and he has one video. It's super old now, but he had one video where he was talking about how you could get your repair estimate. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he kind of had it based upon the square footage. I think he had one that was like, and I'm going to be off, but it was like, if the house is 1,000 square feet, it should be X amount in repairs. If it's 2,000 square feet, X amount, you know, and that's kind of how he did it, like a tier system. And I took the square footage of that house, which I believe it may have been like 1,200 square foot. It also needed a complete gut. So in Jerry's little system, it had the square footage plus, so cosmetic, full gut, or light rehab. And then you could find your number ballpark of how much the repair cost could be. And that's kind of how I found that out.
Did you present that when you showed Miguel, did you say? When you showed him the property, did you talk through what you thought it was going to take? Or did he have a pretty good idea, being an investor himself? How did that conversation go? How did you present that to him when you were there?
Yeah, so I presented it to him. I actually had pen and pad, and I had notes. And I kind of was just telling him, like, so this is how much the ARV, repair costs. We were talking as we were walking the property. But Miguel actually runs his own construction company. So he already had the vision when he walked in the doorway. He knew exactly what he wanted to do, and how he was going to repair it and take it down and everything else.
Nice.
Pretty easy. Make it sound like. Did you have any roadblocks you had to work through?
The only roadblock we had was that, so I use Bill Scott. He is a real estate attorney, and Miguel needed to bring the check to the attorney's office, but I think he either brought the wrong check or the wrong name. So therefore he had to go all the way back to Chicago to his bank. And then he had to like fix that situation and come back. So we ended up having to close 3 days later than we wanted to, just because of that. But that was, if that's the biggest hiccup we had, then I'll take it.
So what drove you to research wholesaling in the first place, right? Something drove you to research for 3 months and then recognize this opportunity.
Well, so in 2019, well, I'll say 2018, I was a personal trainer, and I started my own business, and I had my own like boot camp operation going. It grew. 2019, it started hitting the ground running even more. I saw a interview on The Breakfast Club by a guy named Mark Whitten. Have you guys heard of Mark Whitten?
Mm-hmm.
Mark Whitten was the guy. He had like a 2-hour-long interview talking about wholesaling. So that's the first time I heard about it. And I was glued to the episode from start to finish. And I was like, first of all, this sounds too good to be true, that you can make these big commission checks. You don't need money. You don't need credit. That was like his big spiel, like no money, no credit. So I remember I sent that interview to my cousin. And I was like, man, we have to get into this. We need to explore this. Just check it out. At that time, Mark Whitten had a course he was selling for $14. And I was like, we need to buy this course and just deep dive and see what it's about. At that time, I didn't really go any further. Then 2020 came. My fitness business was still doing pretty good. It was still climbing. Then the pandemic hit. And then once the pandemic hit, I was like, well, now I definitely need to take action and do something. At that time, my daughter was about 1.5. So that was also extra motivation to be like, okay, well, I can't sit here and wait for whatever this is to pass and being the pandemic. Even though I thought the gyms were going to open right back up. Little do we know that didn't happen. So I was like, well, in the meantime, I need to find something that's going to bring me some cash. I take care of my family. And that's really what happened. That's how I got into it.
Wow. Just in the nick of time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So did you have another success right after this first one?
So let me see. So my first deal was 2020. Um, that was like, actually I have the check right here. Oh, actually that's my other 9K deal. Never mind. So the second deal actually came in 2020. That first deal was actually December of 2020. And then the second deal came in 2021 in like February. And that was just a finder's fee, $1,500.
Okay. How'd you find the second one?
So the second one, I was looking on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, and I saw a guy who had a duplex, and he actually lived in Wisconsin. His father lived in Peoria, Illinois, and he was trying to help his father sell it. His father had just got put into a retirement home. I messaged him and I was like, hey, let him know what I do. And he's like, well, if you want to help me find a buyer, then I'll just give you a finder's fee. So that's how that began. And I just started marketing the deal for him. We finally found a buyer and he paid me $1,500.
Nice. What'd you do with the original 9,600 that you made?
So I took my family, took my girlfriend at the time. We went to Cancun, actually. We went to Cancun, spent a little bit, not too much. And then I put most of it back into the business. I think it was a mistake because I tried to hire 2 VAs right away. I tried to buy some program that was specifically geared towards probate, and it didn't work. So I feel like I tried to scale too quickly with not really knowing how to run the systems, if that makes sense.
What were the 2 VAs?
So a lot of my money went back.
What did you have in mind for the 2 VAs when you brought them in? What were they going to do?
Hey guys, if you know you want to quit your job in the next 3 months, make sure you're subscribed to this podcast because we've got some incredible frameworks with step-by-step instruction that you're not going to want to miss. Also, leave us a rating and review to let us know your favorite parts and why you want to get financial freedom.
So I had my 2 VAs, and the plan was to have them cold calling.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought 2 VAs. I signed up for Call Tools, and we bought a whole bunch of lists, getting lists and calling the lists and skip tracing, and we just go. And it was kind of a mess. I didn't really have a grasp on how to have a well-oiled machine from A to Z. And I just was throwing money and it was bad at the time, but I was trying to scale and fall forward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So when you started having the VAs do cold calling, was that generating some leads for you though? Like surely they were getting something in.
Absolutely, it was. And we had lots of deals. We had not lots of deals, but we had lots of potential deals, I should say. And I was on the phone a lot, talking to different people. And we had we set up a Podio. I created my own Podio CRM, and part of their job, Dorothy's job, Dorothy's actually with me today still.
Nice.
Part of her job was to also, she would call, and then she'd get all the information, and she'd plug it into Podio.
Mm-hmm.
So then I would check Podio every morning, and then I could see like what's our warm leads, hot leads, cold leads, notes, price point, all that good stuff. And that's kind of how we're running it. And I went on lots of appointments and stuff. I just, through that method, unfortunately, I didn't get any deals during that time.
Got it. So money was going out, no money was coming in. How many deals have you done so far total?
So I've done, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've done 10 deals.
Oh man.
But
there we go.
That's awesome.
Appreciate it. I appreciate that. It is awesome, but it's also been like a part-time thing. And I'd like to get to the point where it's a bit, and part-time is really like, if that, I'd like to do it with some real effort now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you need to do to make it
24?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my goal in 2024 is to find a way to systemize this a bit better and see what's going to work for me and really, and so I'm a full-time fireman as well, and I enjoy my job. So I don't have the aspirations to leave yet,
Mm-hmm.
but I would like to build this up to the point where I have that option.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice to have the freedom to be able to walk out, or to know if something happens at your company, it's not going to leave you high and dry.
Absolutely.
I don't know if that happens, like if firehouses scale back or anything that we worry about, right? In my tech industry, right? Where they do like, 20% layoffs sometimes, but
they do.
Imagine it could just give you a much better feeling.
What do you like about being a firefighter? I used to want to be that.
Oh, well, I love it because, man, every day is different. It's not like your 9 to 5 at all. You get lots of team camaraderie with the guys. There's something about going to people's houses on their worst days and being able to help them. And the community usually is very receptive to firemen and show us a lot of love and respect. So it's a very honorable type of position job, and I like it.
Have you ever gone into a house on a call for being a firefighter and thought, wow, this is a potential lead?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Have you ever,
and it's funny,
mentioned that?
Yeah.
Don, are you allowed to, or how do you handle that?
So I have not yet. I am also trying to figure out how I can utilize the position I am in to take down fire damage property leads. Because I have access to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just have to figure out the logistics of everything and make sure that I'm not in violation of anything.
Yeah, and you would be respectful, of course, as well. So
absolutely, yeah. My last 2 deals were fire damage property.
Home and then market to the person as if you didn't know you were just there.
Absolutely.
And if they respond, you could then connect the dots.
Yes. Yep. So I've definitely been thinking about that, and so there's a plan there for sure.
What do you use for lead generation now? Is it still lists, or do you have another means for getting leads?
Right now, it's 100% driving for dollars on deal machine.
What do you look for when you're driving for dollars?
So we're looking for, tall grass, roof might be in rough shape, exterior might be in rough shape, maybe some mail piled up in the mailbox, just some signs to say that this possibly could be vacant or distressed. And actually right now, Dorothy, what we've been doing right now is Dorothy is virtually driving for dollars for me.
Virtually. All right. So she's cruising around on Google Street View inside Deal Machine. She sees one of those things with tall grass run down. She adds it, keeps moving on.
Yes.
How many property leads do you have in there of houses that are run down on your driving for dollars list?
So in the market that I am in here, in Peoria, we have like 500. And then with the other markets, we have like 17,000. So.
Yeah. That's like the number I would expect if you had done 10 deals.
Yeah.
You added 1,000 or 2. And then are you, so are you reaching out multiple times? You're reaching out one time to each of those?
So right now, that's what I'm trying to figure out, what my KPI should be. How many times should I hit the lead? How many times should I follow up? Stuff like that. Actually, I just converted all those leads and skip traced all the leads and converted them to the dialer I'm using. I did that yesterday. So now we're trying to officially start really hitting that list. I did my 2 deals in December and I kind of slowed down and wasn't doing much, but that's the plan now, is to take all those lists or those leads and now start calling.
Great. Yeah, definitely. You're on the right track when you're thinking about you need to reach out multiple times, because that house has been run down for a long time and you just need to be the one who reaches out on the day they decide they needed to sell it, right? Which is probably not the day you first reach out. So I'm very happy you're going to do, multiple types of outreach multiple times. And I know I'm excited about 2024. You said your goal was actually to go do this full time. How many deals do you think that you need to do, or, have you reverse engineered what that will take?
I have. So I actually have it right there on my other whiteboard. So I would like to do if I could do 5 deals at 10K or 10 deals at 5K, then I feel comfortable enough to be like, okay, maybe I can leave.
Right.
job.
I don't want to leave, but you wanted the ability to leave if you ever chose to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
It's impressive. And
So I'm looking
at other time, right? Because you work in multiple shifts at the firehouse.
Yeah, and it's very much a part-time thing. Even though I still try to so I work 24 on, 48 off. On that 48 off, I'm usually in here and I'm either going to make phone calls or I'm going to go out driving for dollars, and I'll spend an hour or two. But I like to, like I said, really put some more effort into this thing and really get it oiled and get to going.
Yeah, well, you're on the right track, man. I'm thrilled that you've done 10 deals. You wanted to share this story, and thanks for keeping everybody safe out there. And you deserve some of those. You deserve the success you've had because you've put in the work. So it's only going to get better to know that you're reaching out multiple times.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'll be a good year. I do.
I'm super happy to hear that. Now, Tyvon, do you have a social media place where you're posting any of this yet?
I do. So I have my YouTube channel where actually I broke down my first deal and I broke down my second deal, and I kind of just post about my journey and what I'm doing in wholesaling. It's just Tyvon Davis.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here. I know one of the things you said was that you felt that you hired a bit too soon. You had spent some money and didn't bring that back. So if anyone listening was curious about, well, maybe when's the right time for them to hire, I wanted to share, I just did this episode 104 with Jason Medley. He runs the Collective Genius Mastermind. So he's got, 500 investors who are doing 100 deals a year or doing 10 plus, per year. And we specifically talked about what he thinks is the right time to hire and what that is. So wanted to share that for recommended listening if anyone wants to listen to that episode. And thanks again, Tyvon. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I'm a long listener and watcher of you guys. I'm probably on many of your videos the first comment.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, man. Well, yeah. Dude, on YouTube, you must be talking about, right?
Yeah.
Thanks so much for the comments. I mean, I
LeBron, man.
Yeah, I see you there. Do you have a favorite episode that you'd recommend?
Man, my favorite episode, I think I like, it was a recent one. I can't remember his name, but he's a Hispanic guy, and he did, I think he did like 1.2 million or something like that. I just like his story and his journey and his process of what he's doing. He kind of broke down the numbers of how he's finding his leads, and he had his KPIs really locked down in order. Yeah.
Awesome. I don't know if he's Hispanic. He might be, but it was maybe it was episode 93, 3 cold call tips from Delano. He did, I think, about 1.3 million just off the top of my head, looking at what we've recently recorded.
Yeah. That might be him. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks so much, man. Great to talk.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate it.
No problem. I appreciate you guys.
We should do another episode at the end of 2024. Be great to check in on you.
Absolutely. That's going to go on my board as one of my goals, and
Mine too.
to come back and give some value.
Thanks, man.
Awesome.
See ya.
Thank you.